You can win publicly and lose privately. We can appear successful on the outside while struggling deeply on the inside. This is a hard truth because external success doesn't automatically equal internal health. You can have applause from the world, but still feel disconnected, unhappy, and lost when no one is watching. Some people are winning in front of everyone, but quietly falling apart when no one is looking. Success can be loud, but pain is usually quiet. Have you ever smiled in public while carrying heaviness privately? Ever looked successful on the outside while privately you felt disconnected, exhausted, and lost? What's going on, my curious and intellectual people? Welcome back to Intriguing Insights, where deep conversations meet everyday life, looking beyond the obvious to uncovering meaning, challenge assumption, and find wisdom in places most people overlook. In our last two episodes, in this section, Becoming on Purpose, we discuss how to embrace formation in a way that leads to your core values and your identity. And we also said not to allow emotions to lead you, but rather lead from your identity. Most people chase success by focusing on what they can do, work harder, move faster, achieve more. And if I can be honest with everybody, I'm definitely one of those people that when I seen success, my perception, my upbringing, my understanding and comprehension of how to obtain it was to work harder, move faster, and achieve more. But what if success had less to do with performance and more to do with who you're becoming in the process? Because achievement can build an image, but character builds a life. You can collect wins, titles, and recognition, yet still feel empty if your inner foundation is not growing with your outer success. So today, we're going to talk about the secret to lasting success, becoming over doing. And we're going to dive into why who you become matters more than what you can accomplish. And why success that is not rooted in formation rarely lasts. You can look successful while falling apart internally. Achievement can mask erosion if there is no formation underneath. Did you know success without formation is hollow? It's like knocking on a tree with nothing in it. It sounds like an echo in there. That's what success sounds like. When you knock on it, just achieving external goals such as wealth, status, and promotion feels empty and unsatisfying if you have not undergone the internal personal growth, character development, and self discovery required to appreciate and sustain it. There is a difference between achieving something and thriving. You feel empty, not because the goal is meaningless, but because you haven't yet built the psychological and emotional infrastructure to hold it. That's like taking a gallon of water and pouring it inside of an 8-ounce cup until the gallon of water is empty. The contents of that gallon will pour all over the sides, the table or counter, or whatever flat surface that you're using to hold the cup, and all over the floor. Now, I must say this. Again, I told you I'm guilty of seeing success as hardworking, moving faster, and just gaining more. So I understand this from a personal concept, which is really where I'm speaking from. This is something that I have come across myself and had to learn and reevaluate and restructure. What did I want? Did I want the immediate gratification success that appeared wonderful and glorious on the outside? Or did I want something substantial, everlasting, and foundational? Because in many areas in life, we tend to lack that when we are looking towards achieving something. And we feel underqualified or inadequate, or the goal or something that we were shooting for was wrong or unaccepted, or they picked the wrong person. But actually, God is saying that there's something missing here. He's saying that I needed to shape you, formation, in an area where when you do get in this position, when I say so, you're actually able to hold it. You have the mental capacity and emotional stability to be able to glorify Him and carry on. That was a bonus, free of charge. So here are some examples that I would like to share that I found for myself that helped me of what's going on beneath the surface. Number one, capacity over outcome. External success is an outcome. Fulfillment depends on capacity, the mindset, the emotional regulation, the identity, and the values. If your internal capacity is underdeveloped, the outcome has nowhere to land. It's like pouring water into a cracked container. It doesn't hold. Number two, identity lag. People don't experience life based off of what they have. They experience it based off of who they believe they are. If your identity hasn't evolved to match the new level, for example, feeling unworthy, insecure, or unclear, the achievement creates tension rather than satisfaction. And this is why most people often self-sabotage or feel like imposters once they made it. There's also some others. A lack of integration, fragility of unformed success, and misaligned metrics. But I only explained two because I thought those would help the best to understand what I meant that was going on underneath. What you build matters, but who builds it matters more. Accomplishments are loud, visible, and temporary. They're they're the promotions, the money, the followers, the applause. But character is quiet, internal, and enduring. It's who you are when there is nothing to gain and no one is looking. We call it integrity. A lot of people settle for accomplishment because they're easier to measure. You can chase a title, hit a goal, or check a box. But becoming a person of depth, integrity, and discipline, that's slower, harder, and less visible. Don't just build a life that looks good. Build a self that is good. Because long after you're gone, who you were is still speaking for you. Becoming on purpose means you stop sacrificing identity for outcomes. Shift from external success to internal legacy. Legacy is internal. The true impact of a person, their values, behaviors, and emotional patterns is cultivated through daily, repeated actions and lived out in the present rather than merely being possessions left behind. But every time you sacrifice identity for outcome, you widen that gap between who you settle for and the person you were created to become. You may gain something externally, but lose something internally. But becoming a person of purpose changes that equation. You stop asking, what do I need to do to get what I want? And you start asking, who do I need to be regardless of what I get? That's the shift from external success to internal legacy. And here's the truth that most people avoid. You can achieve almost anything by compromising who you are. But you can't be who you were meant to be that way. So, becoming one of purpose isn't about doing more. It's about refusing to betray who you are for results. So, stop negotiating who you are for outcomes. Outcomes change. They come and go. But every time you compromise who you are, you're getting further away from who you're meant to be. Real purpose is when your identity is no longer up for sale and your legacy is built from who you are and not just what you achieve. Because what's in you will always outlast what you build. And who you become is what remains. Remember, clarity doesn't come from easy answers, but from the courage to ask the hard ones. So stay curious, stay open, and keep looking deeper. Click that follow button or subscribe or share with anyone if you got anything from this podcast today. If you feel that this has pricked something or brought to awareness or even gave you clarity, or I was preaching to the choir where you think that was right on point, I totally agree. Subscribe, follow me, comment, send me some things about what y'all think about it, how it can be better, or how I failed to explain, or what something I can bring to the table for you to even understand better. Peace.